What's good, people? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy Tony, aka Two Tone. And before we get started into this video, man, if you could do me a favor, like the video, subscribe if y'all have not subscribed, and comment down below, man. We're doing a match preview of Barcelona's game against Sevilla, La Liga round 28. I would like to know what will your starting 11 be, scoreline predictions, and who do you think is going to be the most important player in this game, man? We just down to have a little chill, little conversation, you know, to bob some time before our game tomorrow. But nonetheless, let's jump right into this, man. So, Barcelona versus Sevilla. This time, Barcelona is going to be at home. Though I try not to remember, in the reverse fixture, Barcelona lost to Sevilla 4-1, and if you remember, that week was hell week because not only we lost to Sevilla 4-1, which was embarrassing, and that game was prior to international break where we had to sit on that result for 2 weeks. 4 days before that 4-1 defeat against Sevilla, we lost at home to PSG. So I try not to remember that week, but I had to go back and do some research and do some notating from what happened that first time around. And honestly, we lost 4-1 and it looked bad, the final result. But taking everything into context and understanding where we at now at this part of the season, I do think we'll be fine, man. I do. Nonetheless, it is still a relatively tough opponent in Sevilla, a respectable opponent, I would say that, in Sevilla. And Barcelona understand that. Look, we have Real Madrid, who just played Elche. They won 4-1. I just finished watching their game. So they're only 1 point behind Barcelona. So it is a must that Barcelona handle business at home. First, get our revenge on Sevilla. But then on top of that, just making sure we handle business so we can get the 3 points, so we can get that gap back up to 4 points over Real Madrid. But looking into this game, man, like I said, just going in, before we even talk about tomorrow's game, how we got to that 4-1 loss against Sevilla the first time around and what it looked like. And if y'all remember, man, I had some of this pulled up already. But that lineup that we had, bro, was a very, very, very nasty lineup. Like, I almost had to remember it myself, bro. Like, looking at this 11, the first thing you notice in goal, Szczesny started. We didn't have Joan Garcia. Then at left back, we were still playing Gerard Martin at left back. You got Kubarsi and Ronald Araujo, who don't even really play for us. Like, yeah, he just played obviously in the Champions League, but this was prior to the Chelsea debacle, where he was a regular in our rotation. You got Ronald Araujo at center back. We had Koundé. You had Frankie de Jong and Pedri, which is about the only normal thing that I see in the starting 11. We had Ferran Torres out left, Rashford out right, and Lewandowski up front. So we did not have a Fermin Lopez. We did not have a Lamine Yamal. We did not have a Rafinha. We did not have a Jean Garcia. We didn't have an Eric Garcia starting this game. And we had players like Ferran on the left wing. We had Rashford on the opposite wing. It's just, I'm looking at this 11 and I'm like, oh, okay, it kind of makes sense why the final score was what it was. But then when you go back and you look at the game, now in that first half, Sevilla created a shit ton of opportunities. Romero could have had a first half hat trick. A lot of opportunities wasted. But nonetheless, they ended up getting their 2 goals. And then right before halftime, Barcelona gave Sevilla a little bit of a taste of their own medicine that they've been giving to Barcelona that whole first half. Winning the ball back. Pedri played in a good ball into the box into Rashford, and he got the goal. It's 2-1 going in the half. And I remember at that time watching it, I'm like, okay, it wasn't a great first half. Actually, it was pretty awful. But the fact that we got that goal before half, okay, cool. Then you look in the second half, and we didn't concede any goals in the first 20, 30 minutes in that second half. It was still 2-1. And throughout that time frame, we had Lewandowski, who missed a penalty. We had Rooney, who missed the easy one-on-one. He shot a soft shot straight at the keeper. And then he had another opportunity where he could have sweated it, and he ended up, and I'm talking about Rooney, could have sweated it, but ended up taking another shot with his weaker right foot, this time on the right-hand side. So there was opportunities for Barcelona to equalize plenty of time. It's not like they jumped right on us in the second half. But once we didn't capitalize on those moments, Sevilla ended up grabbing their third and fourth goal at the end of the game, and next thing you know, we ended up losing 4-1. So I wanted to talk about that because if Barcelona has any sense of pride, and I believe they do, especially with Hansi Flick as their manager, we remember that. We remember that result, and we remember who we're missing. Again, you looking at this 11, bro, this 11 is nothing like the 11 we're going to see tomorrow. In goal, I believe we're going to have John Garcia. Obviously, that's a given. At right back, I'm hearing Xavi Akbar, I believe is how you say his name. He's probably going to start at right back. Our center backs is going to be Kubarsi and Eric Garcia. And at left back is probably going to be, I don't know. Actually, it's going to be interesting to see what we do at left back. You can go with Balde, you can go with Cancelo. But again, it's going to be different than what we saw the first time we played against Sevilla. The midfield, we know Frankie de Jong's still not back, so we're probably going to get Pedri and I wonder, will he rotate? Because we just played Newcastle over the week, and we got to play them again this upcoming week. So I wonder if Hansi Flick is going to have rotations in his mind. Nonetheless, we won't see the same starting lineup we had the last time with Frankie de Jong and Pedri. I'm assuming it's probably be Pedri and Marc Bernal or Pedri and Marc Casado. Only time will tell, but that's just my guess. At the 10, Dani Olmo could start again tomorrow. If not, probably, if it was me, I'll go with Fermin Lopez. And then at the winger positions, we're probably going to have, if it was me, I would have Rashford out left and Lamine Yamal out right, and then you can go with Ferdinand or Lewandowski up front. And I mean, like I said, I would consider rotating some players that would normally start, just because we have to keep one eye on that return leg against Newcastle in the Champions League. We can't take that for granted. We are going to be favorites. We are going back home at the Nou Camp. All that is true, but I do not want to take, I don't want to take that for granted, the fact that we're going to be at home, so we're just going to go ahead and play everybody in our starting 11 that normally plays against Sevilla. This is just my opinion, by the way. But I wouldn't want to play our regular starting 11 against Sevilla and then try to squeeze in a couple of days rest and have them ready to go all out against Newcastle. Because as I was just saying, though we are favorites and a lot of people expect us to go home and handle business, Newcastle's not going to make it easy for us. It's going to require a lot of energy and a lot of stress. So how we go about this game is going to be very interesting. Again, I would rotate. That's just my, that's what I would do. But then again, you don't want to over-rotate against Sevilla at home in preparation for Newcastle, but you end up dropping points, and you got Real Madrid only 1 point behind you before this game starts. So it's going to be interesting to see what Hansi Flick end up doing, but I do know one thing. Lamine Yamal is going to be out there. We're probably going to see Rafinha out there. We're going to see a Fermin Lopez out there. These are guys who didn't really have an impact in that first game. Andreas Christensen was getting minutes, bro. Granted, he's been hurt, but we just don't see these players that were involved in this game. We're just not going to see them tomorrow. At least that's what I'm hoping. Though I want to rotate a little bit, but this was a crazy 11 looking at what we lining up nowadays. So as long as we don't look sloppy defensively like how we did against Sevilla in that first time, the way that they were able to press us to win the ball back and catch Barcelona's high line out of position, like I said, in that first half, Romero probably could have had a hat trick. Now, he ended up getting a goal. Alexi got him a goal. I believe it was the penalty. That was the first. And guess who surrendered that penalty? It was Ronald Araujo. So, of course it was. But, once Sanchez got his penalty and Romero got his goal, it was a while before they got back on the scoreline, and it was the right back Cremona who ended up getting a goal in the 88th minute, and then like I said afterwards, forgot his name, he came off the bench, he ended up getting a goal, and that was basically end of the game. Acor Adams, however you say his name. But look, man, the guys we're gonna have to be looking out for defensively, I do believe it's going to be the width, and especially down the left-hand side, because if Xavi is going to be making his debut outright, and Lamine Yamal has been playing a lot of minutes lately, so I don't know how much energy he's going to have trying to track back. Vargas, that first time around, he ate up that space on the left-hand side. You saw he got an assist. I thought he had a really good game. We're going to have to keep an eye out for him down the left-hand side. And I will say this, if we can see the same amount of opportunities we did against Romero in that first time around against Sevilla, I don't believe he's going to go 1 for 4, 1 for 5 out of those opportunities. He probably will score more because the opportunities he got, he easily should have had a first half hat trick, but it didn't fall through for him. Luckily for us, but we still lost the game anyway. So we know that Romero can find himself in dangerous positions. We just have to be more ready to, how I want to say that, because he was in the right positions, he was just missing them. But I do think now, if he starts to get those on target, I know we don't have Szczesny in goal. And there's no disrespect to Szczesny, but he's not no John Garcia. So if he does start to get those on target, I do trust that John Garcia will be able to save most of those. And Sanchez, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see who we put out there left. You can go with Cancelo, you can go with Balde. Probably not going to start Balde after the week that he had to deal with, as far as hearing his name and a rumor, as far as Barcelona will be willing to listen to offers. This could be the week he can prove himself. You know, I don't know, but I don't know if he'll start. It'll probably end up being Cancelo if I had to take a guess. But only time will tell. But it's not like you got to really worry about Alexis Sanchez's pace. You just got to worry about the fact that if the space is there, he will attack it, and he can actually do something with it in the final third. But I'm gonna be real. Understanding that we have to win because Real Madrid won, they only 1 point behind us. We have to get our revenge on Sevilla because they beat us 4-1, so we have to get something back. We can't look up and end up dropping 5 out of 6 points or 6 out of 6 points because we wanted to just flat out lose. That cannot happen in this reverse leg, and I don't think that it will, if I'm being real. I do believe, like I said, looking at that 11, it's going to be several changes compared to the 11 we're going to see tomorrow. And though the players looked exhausted over the long week that they had, playing now their 4th game, I believe, in 12 days, I still think, considering all that, Barcelona will be able to do enough to get over the line. At least that's what I'm hoping. But I do believe, heart and mind, that we will get over the line. I do believe Lamine will have a major impact on this, whether it's Rashford or it's Rafinha out left, they will have an impact. I believe defensively, and especially in goal, we would be more rock solid. And only time will tell to see who will start next to Pedri in that midfield, because I do anticipate Pedri starting. And though we played like shit against Newcastle, we got a favorable result coming out of there 1-1. So the scenario going into this game against Sevilla this time around is different than losing a disappointing game, putting in all that energy against PSG, losing 2-1, I believe that score was, and then we had to go to Sevilla a few days later just to get beaten down here. So the circumstances all around this game is completely different, but I do believe that Barcelona will be able to handle business at home against Sevilla. I do believe that they will get at least a goal, because this is how we play. Though defensively we've been relatively rock solid lately, I still think they will get 1 goal. For us, I believe our floor is 3. My mind is telling me 3-1, but my heart would like to flip 4-1 back on them just because they did 4-1 on us. But like I said in the beginning of the video, man, I want to know what you guys think about the starting 11, especially when you look at this starting 11 and the starting 11 that just going to be put out there tomorrow is going to be completely different. Shout out to Gavi as well, man, because he's back. I can't wait to see him in the squad. Probably will be getting some minutes in that. So also, that's something that we didn't have the first time around. But like I was saying, man, I want to know who you guys have in your starting 11. Is it much different than mine? If it is, comment down below. What is your scoreline prediction? For me, I think it would be 3-1. I would like for it to be 4-1 just to match back what they did to us. And yeah, man. And would you heavily rotate this team? Just because we have a Champions League second leg to worry about in a few days. So would you rotate, or would you just want to go out there, put your strongest 11, handle business, get the result, and then worry about resting players on the back end? Like I said, man, I appreciate the support y'all been showing. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And yeah, man, I'm gonna get up with y'all tomorrow. I will be live streaming the game. So if y'all want to check out the game with me, I will be on YouTube live watching the game. And then my match reaction will be coming right after that. So much love for all the guys out there that's, like I said, been watching my stuff, man. It's pretty dope. It really is. But enough talking, enough blabbering. I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. So I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Until then, Two Tone is out, man. Peace.